keep it real with you. We're going to do a series of videos discussing the core muscles. April and I see a lot of videos on social media showing some pretty advanced moves. But the frustrating part is, A, they don't really tell you how to build up to those advanced moves, and they don't discuss the importance of developing core muscle groups. It's not just a superficial muscle group, it is actually there to do some pretty important things. It saves you from having low back issues, it saves you from experiencing a whole myriad of body issues. But I'm going to let April take it from here, and we're going to discuss how to actually build up and develop those core muscle groups.
So what we're trying to really focus on is kind of the standard plank. But before we even really get into the plank, there's a number of exercises that we can do to just really get you to learn how to actually contract your core. A lot of people don't really know how to do that, and when I'm cueing or training someone and I try to tell them, hey, draw your belly button towards your spine, they mentally kind of don't know what that really means, and they just end up sucking in.
Right. So
we're going to actually start with a very basic move to get you to contract your core, and you can do this move anywhere, everywhere, 50 million times a day until you have it perfected. And
yeah, it's really important. I just want to interject. It's really important that you understand that your core muscle group is not like other muscle groups in the body. It's multi-layered, and it's a lot bigger of a muscle group than any other. So you can actually work out your core muscles every day in every fitness routine, and you actually should be utilizing your core muscle groups when working out or when doing a myriad of activities throughout the day. So your core is always something that should be targeted.
Exactly. And a lot of people, when you think of core muscles, they think the six-pack abs that we see on social media.
Yeah, it's irritating.
And that's not necessarily what we're talking about today. That's a whole nother topic of strengthening your core versus aesthetically how you want your core to look.
Yeah, I know a lot of people see six-pack abs, eight-pack abs, and you see all these fitness models, you know, flexing and really showing you the definition. A lot of times that really has to do with not really core strength. It has to do with lean body mass, and having low body fat. It doesn't really equate to strength. 8-pack muscles, 6-pack muscles, just because you can see them doesn't necessarily mean someone is strong, and it doesn't necessarily mean that someone is healthy. It just means that they have low body fat, and you can see the definition. Everybody has 6-pack abs.
Right.
It's all underneath your skin, but some people's body composition is different. So we want to be very clear. The superficial images that you see on social media are not what we're targeting. We're actually trying to get you to develop proper muscle structure so that you can be healthy and do exercises without injury, and so that you can sit at a desk, pick up your baby, do a whole other list of activities on a day-to-day basis without injuring yourself.
Correct.
So we'll get right into it. We're going to do dead bug and hollow hold. But before we start with those, we are going to do simply contracting the muscle groups in a sitting position, correct?
Correct.
All right, so let's get right into it.
Alright guys, so I'm going to try to use a lot of terminology today that can relate to everyone across the board. So if I use things that kind of are silly or funny, it's just to kind of help you realize what you're doing with your body. So just to preference that. So obviously she is trained to sit very nice and tall in her chair when we get started. But if she wasn't, then I would tell her definitely we need to probably scoot forward a little bit. And let's put a little bit of space in our legs. And we want to sit up nice and tall, kind of like we talked about in the past, always sticking out that chest and really exposing and elongating that core so you're not in that crunch position. So what I want for her to do is I actually want her to take her belly button and pretend there's a line, you know, going straight back from her belly
Here,
button
I'll show my belly button so people can see.
to her spine. And what what I would want her to do is, by contracting that, is I want to imagine if I had a string back here and I pulled her in, then everything tightens up. So she can hold that. She should be able to breathe normally. So if you're feeling like you can't breathe, then that probably means what you're doing is you're holding your breath and you're not actually drawing in, you're sucking in, and that's not what we're trying to do. So go ahead and relax. Okay, and again, there's a lot of prep work. I know when we are setting up these exercises, it seems like there's a lot, but the more you do it, the less you'll worry about that, because you'll naturally go into those positions. So again, chest up, shoulders back. Again, take that line and draw it in. Now, another thing that I always like to tell people when I'm cueing, when you want to have that contraction, is pretend like you have to go to the restroom and you're about to release, and then you all of a sudden have to stop. And so that's that kind of that squeeze, that contraction that you do, is you're stopping yourself from going to the restroom.
We want these low muscles
Right.
to be activated, as well as the upper. I see a lot of people just push up and they think they're holding,
Right.
and it comes all the way up.
Right. And that's why when I say you're prepping, a lot of people think when they get in that prep position and they see their upper abs contract, that they're actually doing what they're supposed to do, but that's just the prep work. So I would like to have you do it standing.
Okay.
All right. So from here, you can probably get a little bit better view because she's more elongated. So again, chest out, shoulders back. If I have my pretend string, I'm going to pull, ready, and contract, and hold. So with this, I would probably have her hold about 10 seconds, like 10 actual real seconds, not how we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but 1001, 1002. And then I have her relax, and again, hold for 10 seconds. So this is something that you can do at all times. You can do this while you're chopping vegetables. You can do this while you're doing laundry, all this stuff. Anytime that you're just not doing a lot, you can be doing that. And
Yeah.
you can do it seated, you can do it standing. And truthfully, your core muscles are like your shoulder girdle, your internal girdle.
Yes.
And so all the waist trainers that you see people wearing, if you work on developing your core muscles and learning how to contract them at all times, you don't need to buy or spend the money on a waist trainer, because you're actually training your actual waist to hold that core position. So, food for thought.
Food for thought. And it's important to remember that just because you are training your muscle groups to be the internal girdle, so to speak, doesn't necessarily mean that your waistline is going to look like everybody else's.
Correct.
Your body composition is specifically unique to you.
Correct.
You have a build, a structure that is just yours. So no matter how you develop these muscles, doesn't necessarily mean that you'll be able to attain the superficial looks that we see all over social media. It's important to remember that a lot of these people are trained to hold certain poses before they're photographed. It's important to remember that a lot of them do some depletion diets and dehydration techniques to make sure that they have a lack of puffiness and that they're photo ready. And I'm pretty sure that's not what we want to live life like on a day-to-day basis. Remember, we are trying to celebrate what our bodies can do and the muscle composition, and to do it healthy and safely, but we're not trying to chase a superficial image of health.
Correct. Okay, so let's just say now you got this down and you're kind of ready to advance, but you don't feel like you're ready for the plank yet. So I'm going to show you 2 exercises that are really good at giving you that contraction in your core, and then also allowing you to have some moving parts so you can see how you have to maintain that contraction during the exercise. So we're actually going to move down to the floor.